Hi, this is Ranjini Nambiar, and welcome to The Dope with the Superwoman of the Travel Industry series. Our next guest is a postgraduate with distinction in biochemistry and microbiology from the University of Mumbai. She started her career with Thomas Cook as a middle management trainee and rose the ranks to become the head of the tailor-made holiday division. In the year 2007, when Thomas Cook got sold to the Dubai Holdings, Ms. Nagshri left the company to join Mercury, where she headed the holidays division. Having personally traveled to over 45 countries, visiting over 2,000 cities, Ms. Nagshri Prasad Shashidhar currently runs her own bespoke travel boutique company by the name Nagshri, creating special memories. She prefers to go by the designation CHO, the Chief Happiness Officer, creating magical and seamless experiences, both domestic and international. Let's find out more about our dynamic and happy superwoman now. Welcome to the show, Ms. Nagshri. How are you doing today?
Very well, and I must say a big hello to everybody watching the show as well.
Nagshri, tell us, I'm quite intrigued to, read from where the science background, a postgraduate in biochemistry, coming into the travel industry. Tell us a little about your past and the journey in the travel industry so far.
Well, actually, it's been kind of a little, unexpected. Being from a very academic background and a typically South Indian family, doing anything beyond an engineering and a medicine was like, oh my gosh. But what really happened was after my 10th, I obviously continued with science, and that progressed into, kind of doing my post-graduation in microbiology and biochemistry, because eventually I did harbor, a silent desire to wanting to do my PhD in oncology. And get to the US actually, because that's where the research was the best. But anyways, I guess life just has its own ways of showing you the path. And when I was in the middle of my master's, my first year, I completed my first year and then got married, and that was an arranged marriage. My husband was doing very well in Deutsche Bank at that time, and I just kind of felt that it was not really prudent and wise for me to kind of just up and leave and just kind of follow the oncology path. So what I then sat down and thought I would do was probably kind of do something different. What did I really like? And I think at the end of the day, it's very important that each one of us follow our passion. And the passion for me was to be with people, was to interact with people, to see things, to see places. So that's how my foray into travel happened. So when people ask me from microbiology, well, I tell them that, it was time for me to look at things from below a microscope to things more macroscopically. So I think, it was the natural progression for me, because that was something which came pretty naturally. And I thought that was the best thing to do.
And I love the designation as well. Let's, understand about the Chief Happiness Officer. It's quite a unique position which you have named. Tell us a little about that.
So when I really kind of started off my company and gave birth to this lovely, boutique travel curating company called Nagshri. Now, what I really kind of felt was there was a designation required, because, though of course it was my company, people would still ask, what are you in the company? And I just kind of took a step back and I said, hey, listen, I need to really think of a designation which I totally relate to. So when I was thinking about what is the real essence and the crux of what we do in a travel curating business, I think the first thing we do is to realize people's dreams. Because that's what we're all about. We're dream weavers, right? And finally, the dream weaving gets converted into reality. So what are we in the bargain? What are we really doing with, kind of actually getting these dreams together? We're creating a lot of happiness. So I think our business, the basic foundation of our business is all about spreading happiness, spreading memories. We're cementing memories for people. So if happiness is the crux, well, what am I? I think each one of us are ambassadors of spreading happiness. So, well,
Absolutely.
that's how the Chief Happiness Officer came about, and and I think I'm very proud of that, because that is a great, topic of starting a conversation, because every single person I've met till date actually kind of look back and say, "Hey, listen, I've never seen that before, and I think that's fabulous." So, I'm
Absolutely.
very happy with that designation.
Absolutely. It's all, as you rightly said, it is a great conversation starter. And when did you start the organization? I mean, how old is Nagsri?
Well, it's extremely old. No, it's a year old now. So it's 2019,
Okay.
and in the February of 2019 is when I started, and
Oh,
that's when the company was actually kind
oh,
of born.
okay. That's quite interesting. And coming to the current situation in the world with the extended effect of the corona, I would say the COVID era, the travel industry definitely is. I know it's a much asked question, but how has it affected you, and what are the changes you see within the industry?
Well, the first thing, Ranjini, that I really kind of feel is when people talk about the pre-COVID era and the post-COVID era. Now, there is where I kind of jump in to tell people that, listen, we're not going to be getting into a post-COVID era so quickly. So the first thing we need to really understand is that we're going to be in a with COVID era, yeah, because we've got to learn to coexist with the damn virus, because the virus is not going away in a hurry. We don't know when the vaccine is coming out. So I think what is very important right now is to ensure, and this is when I really think back, and I kind of think to myself, and I'm like, the adage that was really put together about saving for a rainy day is so true now, because it can't be truer. You
Absolutely.
need all the resources you have to guide you through this period. We don't know when, and the worst thing is we really don't know when this
Right.
entire when the curtains are going to rise again. It could be 2 months, it could be 4 months, it could be 6, it could be 8. So your guess is as good as mine. So I think what is very important for all of us to do is to make sure that we first and foremost kind of get our minds together, and we keep saying that to ourselves, that this is not the end of the world. There's always revenge tourism which is going to come back, because every single client you talk to is dying to get out of the house and go
Okay.
traveling again. So traveling is in our DNA. It's not going to go away. So just be positive. I know it's very easy to say that, but I think it's important for us to really kind of get our minds to think positively, and find alternate ways, and probably use this time as more as a constructive time that we've got, rather than look at the corona as a destructor. So get new things in place, try and be innovative, try and be creative, be your creative best. Because I think the person who's going to innovate and be creative is the one who's really going to win in the end.
Now, tell us a little about Nagsri's creating special memories with the various experiences. Uh, you plan, what is your favorite segment?
Okay, that's a tough one, because for
I know.
me, the favorite segment would be in terms of anybody who, because the kind of clients I handle is essentially, Ranjini, people who are a little more mature, and I'm very clear about what I'm really kind of putting out on the table for my clients. They come to me because they have the reassurance that I've planned the holiday for them personally. They have the reassurance that they can be sure of getting an experience which they will come back remembering for life. And I think that's the greatest high any travel curator would get. Where you can actually pick out experiences from a place which is not, which has been personally tested out, or it is something which a client really, kind of, you're marrying the right product to the right client. So for me, the company, it's very important to ensure that, you are 100% on top of your game when it comes to product. Because I think product is the foundation now, and it's always been the foundation since leisure travel started. So you've got your product in place, you've got a winner. So very important. So the segment I would deal with would be, be it honeymooners, be it the silver grays, be it, retired couples, be it people wanting to celebrate their retirement. It could be people wanting to celebrate a new job, but it could be anything. So anybody who's a traveler and not a tourist, well, is my client. So there is no personal favorite segment, but I just kind of love clients who appreciate what I have to give them, and clients who actually kind of trust you completely, and let you just kind of handle the entire plan for them. So they're my personal favorites.
Absolutely.
And I may also add here that it's a big high for me because I get to choose the clients I want to deal with as well, and I don't know how many people can do that, but well, for me, I think it's a great winner because I get to choose the kind of clients who completely understand what I have to offer, and above all, they appreciate what I have to offer.
Let's focus some trends in the global millennial traveler. I'm sure all of us would be planning holidays for the millennials. Have you scaled up to match up to their expectations? Do you deal with the millennial traveler?
Like I said, any traveler who is
Okay.
willing to experience something different
Okay.
is definitely welcomed at Nakshi.
Sure.
So yes, to answer your question, a lot of honeymooners is what I've done as well. And when I mean honeymooners, well, these are the guys who probably, your typical honeymoon clients would maybe not want to get off on a safari. But I've had a honeymoon couple who's gone gorilla trekking in Rwanda, for example. So I think it's the moment you talk about a millennial, I think it's a little incorrect too, because a lot of people, they tend to kind of put them in a certain kind of a module, saying that this is how a millennial should behave. But I think a millennial, you have different varieties of millennials as well, and there are a lot of them who want that difference. They want to go on a scuba diving holiday, because they've been dating for a long time, and now they're married. So they don't really need that time to get to know each other, but they want to do things together which they both enjoy, which is why they've gotten together in the first place. So stuff like that is very interesting. So basically, for me at Nakshi, it's very simple. Now I have kept it very clear that I need to basically cater to clients who are, wanting something off the beaten track. Somebody, like I said again, who appreciates what I have to, kind of propose. Clients who've been there, done that, but they want to do, really mad, wacko things. Well, they're welcome as well. So I've kind of segmented my genres into different compartments. And the moment I have a client who wants something of them, it's very easy then for me to, kind of get the two together. And you've got a great itinerary going, and the client is very happy, and he comes back completely. Because for me, 100% customer delight is very, very important. And I think that's what I've been able to achieve in the past year.
And do you also forecast a travel trend? I mean, do you forecast a travel trend like, okay, next season, this is going to be the trend? Or do you forecast some things? Or do you think about how, according to your customer needs are, you cater to that?
So for me, again, Ranjini, it's a little different because
Sure.
I try and not go by what the market trends are. So if the market trend is going towards a particular, kind of destination, then I would probably do an about turn and go on the complete opposite. Yeah. So I think when your client comes to you, first and foremost, there's no trend that he follows, or at least my clients don't. So when I'm talking about a trend, if at all, you need to really kind of put your finger and say, actually, no, you've got to, what is the trend you're looking at for your client? Well, I think the only trend I'm looking at is there are two things, the way I look at every itinerary planning. Either I have a destination as the hero, or I have a hotel or a resort in that destination, in a particular destination as a hero. So I would then probably work around the destination, because if I know that the client is more outdoorish and he wants activities and he wants a whole lot of things to do, he's got 10 days, then I probably would gravitate and get him to keel more towards the destination. But if I know that the client is more interested in spending more time in the room, or probably wants a lovely resort, then I would probably go the resort hero. So it totally depends. And for me, also what is important is showcasing and trying to get to the foray a destination or a particular place which is lesser known. And I would rather make that into a trend rather than following a trend. So I would probably, make that a trend, whereby then people would say, hey, why not? Because I had this client who went to Mongolia for 20 days. So Mongolia is never really, in a normal itinerary. So now he would talk to 10 other people, and probably I would have 10 other people talk about Mongolia, and then suddenly it becomes a trend. So I would rather be a trendsetter in that sense, whereby my clients, are already, they know about the destination or the so-called trend.
Absolutely. Well done. And 5 years from now, do you see an increase in women entrepreneurship?
Well, again, Ranjani, I think women are everywhere, and I think the travel industry is testimony to that because I think very soon you'll be asking that question to a
Me.
man who comes on the show, to a male who comes on the show, saying, "Do you really think male entrepreneurship in the travel industry would really kind of work?" Because I think we guys are hands down, really kind of right up there, and it's more to
Absolutely.
women part, and I think you're doing fantastically, and I think it's very intrinsic because women
Absolutely.
have that in us to one to multitask, two
Absolutely.
to kind of actually get down to those real nitty gritties and those details. Now, trust a guy to probably detail down to the last T and cross the T's and dot the I's. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of them, but I think
Yeah.
women, it comes more naturally to us, which is why I feel that women entrepreneurs, of course, they would everywhere in every field.
That's brilliantly answered. And finally, any parting comments to our future aspirants or to the industry in general?
Well, actually, I have quite a bit. No, but I'm going to make that really short.
Sure.
Well, I think what is very important, Ranjani, now is that
Mm-hmm.
we've been given a chance, a golden opportunity to
Sure.
restart. It's from ground zero. So I
Correct.
think a lot of things which probably would have gone wrong, yeah, in the past years, we've been given a chance to correct all of that. And I think one most important thing that all of us as agents or travel creators should really, really kind of work together as one body. We need to work as one unit. We need to kind of work in the interest of the client, and in the same foray, we all need to kind of work together. So I think that is the topmost on my mind, whereby we really kind of are seen as one voice and heard as one voice. Two is that to the newcomers coming in, like any industry, there is no shortcut to success. And I think it's very important to really kind of work your way from the bottom to the top, and not look for quick gains. And I think that is, you're only fooling yourself by doing that. And third, which is something that I follow very, very, it's always been part of my DNA. And that is I follow something called the 3B theory. The first B that I believe in is belief. So you need to really step back and think about what is it that you really believe in? What are your values? What do you stand for? Because the moment you have complete clarity with your belief, that needs to translate into your behavior. So you need to behave in such a way that your beliefs are completely transformed into what you really are talking about. Finally, once you've got your belief and your behavior in place, I think there's absolutely no stopping the business will automatically roll. So follow the 3B theory, be honest to yourself, don't have any shortcuts. You're never going to get success with that. And just be one body, one voice, one entity. And I think you're really going to rock the industry once again. And travel is going to come back with an absolute bounce. No doubt about
Super.
that.
Super. I loved talking to you. I mean, in fact, I think this has been very interesting, and I'm sure all the viewers will also love this. Thank you so much for spending time with us, Nagasri. I mean, it's been a good, insightful conversation with you. Now,
Absolutely my pleasure. Thank you.
to all the viewers who would be watching this, I'm sure you'd have a lot of takeaways from this episode. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, The Dope, and see you soon with another episode. So, bye for now.